Well, what Greg said, speaking of thinking that you'd be done with Zelda by now, my last thing that I want to talk about right now is, well, I am not nearly done with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Greg is way further than me, but I have been playing Tears of the Kingdom. And Andy asked me the other day, hey, how you doing with that? Because, like,
I was literally just about to ask that same question.
You had just fucking played Breath of the Wild to completion, however many tens of hours was that.
I'm glad you said that. I was literally priming for a moment to ask that same question to you. So, yes, I'm asking
for the content, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's also been a few days. Like, you've played it more, so, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But my answer to that was, and still is, surprisingly well, because the game really is a wonderful sequel to Breath of the Wild in that it elevates things, it expands upon things, it evolves things, mechanics, it evolves the world. So it really is like playing a legitimate, better sequel, even though it's so close to in my experience. It feels different enough, you know? And I think, you know, I like this kind of game to begin with, but even for me, it could get repetitive, tedious, whatever you want to say. If it was like just Breath of the Wild again, right? Same world, you're just doing the same fucking things again, just with different skin over it. But no, Tears of the Kingdom, I think Greg would agree, Tears of the Kingdom is like a legitimate evolution of Breath of the Wild.
I was gonna go super into it. I guess I could say like some shit for me, but like, yeah, dude, that game. If you were to describe the difference between Breath of the Wild and this, I would say, take it to like early access games nowadays. Breath of the Wild feels like that, and then Tears of the Kingdom is like the finished product, like 3 years down.
That's a good analogy. They learned a lot of lessons.
They learned a lot of lessons. A big thing I remember, was people complaining about like the map being the same. They were like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be the same. What are we gonna do?" It's kind of got the same base level to it, but overall, there's crazy different parts to the map. There's a bunch of new caves, like all that.
There's a lot different, and it's, even though it's the same like foundation, it feels so much different because of all the tricks they pulled to change it up.
I'm pretty crazy far in. I'm like, I think I have over 80 hours, it says.
Yeah, jeez.
I think I did like 78 shrines. I have like 95 Koroks, it says.
I want to hear you guys' genuine reaction to this idea. And then we've floated around a bit, but you know, just pretend like this is the first time you're hearing me say it. What do you think's the idea to a newcomer to skip Breath of the Wild and go straight to Tears of the Kingdom?
I think it's completely possible.
That's fine.
I mean, it's up to the person, but
I think it's not a story split into two games.
But what do you think you lose out on doing that?
Quite honestly, you do lose out on the story.
Not really,
because it is a sequel.
Because everybody explains everything to you in meticulous detail every time you see them.
Exposition is different from the experience of doing it yourself.
Yes, I mean, if anything, yeah, I would say play the first one because it is a sequel. I think like 4 years take place between them. But if not,
one's willing to take the L on that. Yeah. Like, what if I want to take the L on that?
You know how in Majora's Mask, you don't really need to have played Ocarina at all? It's a very different vibe and storyline, and like you get the gist. Even that's even kind of a bad analogy because it is Tears of the Kingdom is more of a sequel to Breath of the Wild than Majora was to Ocarina in terms of like storyline.
Of course.
But I think they were going for the same feeling where people could jump into Tears and just not even have to understand it. Just like you understand that there's Link and there's Zelda, an adventure happens, things happen, and now you have to solve the problem and save the world.
You know, if you're gonna make successive open world games, that's the way to do it, right? Like I like that whole idea. Was the Grand Theft Auto model? It's the Assassin's Creed model. You know, you can jump into any one of those games and just play it.
Yes,
that's the way.
And someone who played Breath of the Wild might even be like, where's some of the remnants from the first game that should definitely be followed up on in the
There's
second game?
a lot of shit like that
there's
that should
fewer
be
than you
followed
would
up
think.
on.
Can you give a couple things that like are in Breath of the Wild that you don't find in Tears of the Kingdom? There's a couple.
Well, I mean, like physically, there's
There's
a
the
bunch of
map.
locations that should be there but just aren't. Like
The map in Breath of the Wild is covered with like guardians, and they're all
Is that-
gone.
Flask, is that
There's
like a
these giant
redesign?
things called like divine beasts in Breath of the Wild, and they're these giant towering like animal mechs that
Right,
you
those
used
are
to be
the
Ganon,
those
they're
are the,
just
like
gone.
the dungeons, quote unquote.
Yeah,
Yes.
the dungeon things, they're just like they're gone.
But that's expected, right?
I mean, yeah, because they're not really like they were used to get rid of Calamity Ganon, and they talk about it in a journal like they did disassemble it, like all the that ancient shit.
Yeah,
But
so
still,
it's
it's
waved
like
away.
all right, yeah, but still, it's like all right. I would think because these things are massive, dude. So it's like all right. I'm surprised, they're not like here. Like they're pretty. What's the word I'm looking for? They're very they're like monuments basically. I'm surprised they got rid of them.
Flask, you mentioned earlier that there are world features that aren't there anymore. Is that like, are you saying like they were just designed away, or that there's like lore and like a mystery or something, or like a question there, or
I was partly talking about
there
like
is lore stuff also of that.
Yeah, I
you're
feel
talking
like
about like
the-
the divine beasts and stuff as well.
Yeah.
yes. I think the things that are gone or different are just kind of like Greg is alluding to or saying, hand waved away in terms of like we don't
Right.
care really. It doesn't matter because this is attempting to be clean
Right.
enough of a second game that doesn't have to be tied in enough so that anyone can get into it. So I think the answer to your question is definitely you could jump in to Tears.
Okay. I mean, they're just, they're like, what, 60, 80-hour games? Like,
Yeah.
man's only got so many hours in the world. There's only so many games.
Yeah, I'm just a freak who had to play from
And I don't own a
Twilight
Switch.
Princess all the way up to this one in like the past year.
Right.
But I really like the mechanics in this game, the gameplay mechanics. I think I like them a lot more.
I
than
have
Breath
some
of the Wild.
I have some stuff
so
written
much
about
fun
the
you can do
mechanics.
with it.
We're real quick,
Go
if I'm
ahead.
gonna be a stupid nerd.
Oh,
Flask, is this the last
sure.
topic on your roundtable? Not a big deal
Yeah.
if not. Okay, then when you're done, we'll move into Greg. Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
So, Greg, what were you going to say about?
I was just gonna
mechanics?
say, I was just gonna talk a little bit about like the powers you get.
Okay,
Like,
sure.
you get like Ultra Hand, which is like the main thing you use, which you see everybody you use it to
And
grab
these are
stuff,
new to
move
this
stuff
game, to be
around,
clear.
combine it together to make like the Banjo Kazooie vehicles and whatnot.
Nuts and bolts it.
Yeah, they got like Fuse, which in the game, all the base weapons are like degraded because of this the event that happens in the game called the Upheaval. So all the weapons are like destroyed and fucked up. So you have to
My
use
sword
this
got
Fuse
dark
ability
gooped.
to combine the base of the weapon with like monster parts. You can do it with like monster food, random shit you collect. And
So
you
many
can put that on your
combinations.
weapon, and so many, and they all do different things. Like key balls, you put it on your bow, and it'll track if you shoot it. Ice, lizard. These things called Lizalfos, I think they're called. You can cut off their tails. You put that tail on a spear, and the thing it'll extend it out. It's all these crazy things you didn't expect. There's like a
I like how they
mushroom-
allow you to be
They-
dumb with stuff. Too.
Yeah. And like there's many times I violently killed myself because I thought it would work.
I saw somebody they made that motorcycle. You see that?
Oh, certainly.
Motorcycle? Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Someone
There's a lot
made
of shit. Yeah, dude. There's like
Someone made a
ridiculous stuff.
motorcycle, but they made it out of like objects, like pots or something, some sort of
Oh,
pot.
okay. They
And they
truly
made like a
assembled it.
very efficient motorcycle, and everyone was like going crazy about
That's
it.
funny.
I'll see if I can post it
That.
for you guys.
You got like that. You got the recall, which it lets you basically if you see an item, you can use recall, and it will bring that item and reverse the time, turn the time back on that object, and return it if it's moved to its original location. So Basically, there's a bunch of stuff in like the sky, and you'll notice it while you're wandering around the world. Stuff will fall from the sky, like giant rocks. You could go over to that, recall it, climb on top, and the rock will go all the way up to the sky, and you can like jump off of it and like soar to another area. You can do it with a bunch of that. Enemies could throw rocks at you, and you could recall the rock back, and the rock will fly back and hit them in the head, do damage to them. You got Ascend, which I think I constantly forget this is a thing, but it's like awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy though.
You basically it acts like a dive where you have a ceiling above you, and if you're clear, you can dig through. You jump in the air and you dig through the ceiling, and you end up like outside, like above where you were. So if you're like in a cave, you dig through the cave to the top.
That's pretty cool.
It's
you can just basically just immediately ascend to the top of a mountain from the bottom of the mountain. If
there's been a few shrines where like it wants you to like make a jump or something, and I've just taken something, put it up the top like a plank or something, moved it a little bit so I could just jump up to it, and I just skipped the entire puzzle.
Hell yeah, brother!
It's
that's
nuts.
Cool.
For as creative as Breath of the Wild
like
was,
that.
it's like Tears of the Kingdom just totally multiplies that
Shits
creativity.
It's so the things that you can make are so nuts in that
I wonder what's
game.
next. I mean, they're not going to do the same thing a third time, right? That would just be no.
If they do something, I would like. I was thinking about it a little bit. I'd like to see more with maybe like weather effects. Maybe like do more stuff with that. But I don't know.
There was an interview. Sorry, you go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. There was an interview with Eiji Onuma. That's his name, right? Eiji Onuma, the producer guy.
I do not remember.
He's like one of the main guys behind these games. That where all of the like the journalists made the headline that he is calling Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom the new template for the Zelda series going forward.
I did see that. I don't think I like that much, if I can be honest.
Neither do I, but then I actually read the article, and it's way less concrete than journalists are making it out to be.
I think I read that article. I don't remember reading that take on it, but it was not what I remember taking away from it.
You can almost miss it, because all he says is that like he just kind of casually, offhandedly talks about how these games are like kind of not even, I forget what he says exactly, but like the pattern that they want to emulate going forward. But I don't think it's as simple as like, we're going to make games just like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom from now on for the Zelda series. I don't think it's that simple. That's not the way I read it. I
wouldn't be surprised if, I feel like they really did kind of create a formula here that really could evolve over time even more,
Dude, if they keep doing what they're doing, like where they keep a lot of the stuff, and their main focus is like polish, like what they did with last year, where this game, holy shit, this game's super polished.
I feel like why create all of these? Remember, this is this engine that supports all these different physics and systems,
and then just dump it for a new one.
It for a completely different kind of game.
Engine is whatever, like. The engine doesn't mean it has to be an open world game. You know what I mean? Like there's intent in game design is what I'm saying. Like
personally, I still really value the classic style of Zelda game and don't really want to see that die, because they always did it. I mean, the quality of each individual Zelda game varied, obviously, but I don't want to see it die because they always had that level of quality that was kind of unparalleled in the rest of the game industry. Like if you got into a Zelda game, you get that Zelda experience, So I don't want to see that go away completely. And I would accept like the main games of the Zelda series being kind of following this formula that they've developed now. But also I would like spin-off games or like side games to still exist that follow the more traditional Zelda formula. That would be nice.
I was saying I would like a side game for this. I would like to see everything going on with Zelda, like play through Zelda, or play as her with what's all going on.
You could do that.
Damn, it's interesting. The last thing I was going to talk about was for the power wise is the last thing you get it like pretty later. It's called auto build, and it gives you schematics all around the world that you can find, or it takes stuff like you built and it will log it in your history and you can favorite it, and it'll basically pull out that blueprint and it'll auto build it for you, like set it up immediately if with all the pieces around the map if you have them. And if you don't have them, you can use this stuff called zonite, which is like a new material, and you use that zonite to make the like objects, which is pretty cool.
That's a good feature.
Music's really good. A lot of it's like from the first one, but a lot of it's like all remixed. A lot of it's really, really good. I'm a big fan
I also
of it.
like the atmosphere in general. Just like I don't know. It kind of has that Majora's Mask versus Ocarina feeling again, where it's like, not that this is the darker Zelda, but just that it's like, the world state has literally changed, and
it's
the feeling
gone
is different.
to shit
It's a way of putting it.
after everything, because it takes place. I'm pretty sure like 4 years, they say. And if you read like a bunch of the notes or see people talking, a lot of them are like, man, everything was getting like really good. We have like the restoration effort, and then this happened, and now we got all this. Flash, which way which way did you go, or what have you done so far? Since I'm probably farther.
Oh man, I haven't gotten to play that much. I'm doing my first like main area right now, which I went to the Doritos first.
The Doritos?
Damn, all right. I was hoping you would pick some. I haven't. The Doritos
Bro,
I've done
Doritos
3. I haven't done the Dorito yet. Doritos the last one I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
But I was hoping you would have done one of the other ones so we could talk about it. All the crazy shit that's gone on.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. What do I want to talk about?
Yeah, was there anything else you wanted to?
I have a fuckload I want to talk about, but I there's a lot of it's like spoiler stuff.
Okay.
So I'm trying to like go. I wrote notes, so I'm like going
this
through
doesn't
it.
have to be the pod for Tears of the Kingdom. We can always revisit it as you guys continue.
You're right.
Because Greg, you're gonna beat it before Flask, so it'll probably go at the pace of Flash finishing it. Maybe we'll do, if you're so passionate, maybe even a whole discussion on it, like a thing.
All right, you're right.
I'm just saying, don't feel like you gotta blow your load. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I won't go crazy about it, but I've done quite a bit of the game. I'll say personally, I've done I got all the memories last night. I got the Master Sword.
Nice.
I felt feelings deep in my body that I was like, wow, that's real nice. That's real nice.
Good.
This hasn't happened in a while.
Dude, last time, I wish John was here. Last time I felt like this was when I was watching One Piece.
Twin Peaks, you meant.
But dude, it's great. I'm probably
Twin Peaks, yeah.
And man, it's just really good, dude. I love it. I'm having a blast. I know when we were at Gamercation, I kept every time there was like empty room, I would just like play that in the corner.
You'd walk into a room and you see Greg playing Tears of the Kingdom again.
I was like, it's so fun.
Yeah, the thing I'm really enjoying about it is the reason kind of I'm going so slow, taking it at my own pace, is because I'm experimenting so much with different options, trying different things. It's a great game for that, experimentation. Like Andy, you saw me one time spend like 8 minutes building a log bridge to cross a gap when I could have just easily glided over it instead.
Yeah, honestly, honestly, that's the stuff for me. Like, yeah. When I was asking earlier, the comparison, which one do I need to play first? Is it okay if I skip Breath of the Wild? The point was, I'm not gonna be able to play Breath of the Wild when I know that in the next game I get to like build shit.
Is way better.
Sure.
Yeah.
When I get to like do engineering.
Way more creativity. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I get your point.
I built a rocket once, and the rocket shot off with a log, and the log swung back and hit me and threw me off a cliff.
I want like Vito, you posted this thing from Reddit. This dude made a extremely inefficient bike using cooking pans. Pause.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, Andy.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was queuing up the news.
Really cool thing that I'm gonna post is for the polish of the game. Is there's a lot of cutscenes, and the game has like a dynamic weather system where like it'll rain and do all these other things. So the camera, if you're talking to someone and they give you a quest, they'll like pan the camera over to like where you generally have to go. And if it's like raining or if it's like cloudy or foggy or like the sun's in the way, the people will like comment on it. Like I posted in the Discord, but she's like, oh, it's a little tough to see because of the sun, but there is a shrine over there. But normally if the sun isn't there, she doesn't say anything. I've had a lot of people like, I've had people like come when it rains, people freak out, they duck for cover, they're like, man, rain. There's a quest I did, and this girl she was like, oh, come back tomorrow, it's gonna be a real sunny day, we'll do this. And it was like a shitty thunderstorm, and she was bummed out, but she still went through the quest. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think this, goes to show that the story that they're relating, or the account of the developers, is that the game was finished in March of 2022,
right?
And that they have spent the last year polishing. So if all this stuff can be attributed to that, I love that kind of thing. I mean, granted, they're Nintendo, they're making Zelda, they have the resources.
That's like their egg.
To be able to do
that's
that.
One of their eggs.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean,
eggs.
that's like the story you heard. I mean, believe it or not, true or not, it could have just been PR, but like, remember Metroid Prime 4, like, famously was like close to being released before Nintendo.
Dude, they fucking canceled. They were like, dude, we're restarting this. This sucked. That's
completely
crazy.
pulled away, threw away all the money, dumped it down, and restarted it.
And you would hope that like the biggest games would come out with that attention to detail, like what Greg is describing. That's always.
I was saying, I was gonna say, I hope
sure.
my biggest takeaway from this, I would think, as a gaming company, would be
right.
This game spent, like, especially after that, they spent a year polishing it. We don't have to keep going, oh, graphics are the new hotness. Bam, we need more, better graphics. Bam, 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 bam. Just work on getting the fully polished game, make it polished, smooth. People are going to fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
But what they'll take away from this is every game needs crafting now. Every game needs to have, you need to be able to craft and build shit. And that's probably going to suck.
I mean, there's a reason why, I mean, to be honest, like, there's a reason why Zelda's been Zelda since 1984 or whenever, and there's never been another Zelda that's like had the same legs,
that Zelda quality, that level they get to.
Well, listen, you say that, and then I think of a Skyward Sword or other games that were not that great.
I think of Skyward Sword as like a misguided attempt at evolving, and that you can't really make new things without taking risks. You know what I mean? And so, like, it didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the same about
that
Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, especially.
I'm sure somebody out there is right now on Reddit
came out,
typing in a passionate argument about how Skyward Sword, failing there made it necessary for them to think about scale in Breath of the Wild, something like that.
Of course, yes. And what a valid point, anonymous internet commenter.
So true.
So true.
So true. So funny.